Alrighty, for the sake of time, we'll go ahead and get started. And then since it's being recorded, we'll send out the recording to everybody. But thank you guys all for joining us. I know it's summertime, so most everybody probably wants to be outside and sunbathing, but we are so excited. We only have 10 more days left for your period of performance, which is wild for our ARPA project. So we have been together for a full year, which is kind of insane. So we would love to welcome Jody Moots from ESU. She's going to be giving us a presentation today of all the wonderful resources that they provide. So I'm going to pass it off to her.
All right. Well, thank you so much for inviting us to come and speak. Um, I do have, can you guys hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Um, I do have Gina joining me here in a minute, but I want to go ahead and just get started. Oh, I see she's just popping on. So um, just in time, sister, just in time. So we are from the Southeast Early Learning Connection team, and we serve ESU 4, 5, 6, and 18. My position title is the Southeast Early Learning Connection Assistant Coordinator, and Gina is the Southeast Early Learning Connection Coach Consultant. And so what we really want to do today is talk about what is the early learning connection, and how does it pertain to you? How can it help you in your position? What do we do? Where are we all located? All those big questions. And then so we'll each take a minute and kind of run through what we do in those resources, explain our position, and then at the end we'll do a little bit of a professional training breakdown, and then talk through how you can stay informed and be involved. And so just kind of the benefits of those types of things. I wanted to also mention that on our team, we have a couple people that aren't joining us right now, and that is Kara Small. She is our regional coordinator. And another big part of our team is our administrative assistant, Sydney Bristol. So if you've ever registered for a class or had to call the ESU 6, then you've definitely interacted with Sydney, and she does a great job of all that behind the scenes stuff. So I wanted to be sure to mention her. So we're just going to start out with the state's definition of what the early learning connection is. I couldn't come up with a better way to summarize it, so I just popped this in there. And it is just what it says. It's an integrated system of early childhood professional development. It's a statewide hub. There's 7 regional early learning connection partnerships, along with other state and regional partners. And it's just a system. It's developed to support the career and professional development of those like you that provide programs and services to those children birth through 8. So just taking a minute to really talk through what the coordinator's job is. And I'm going to try to simplify this because there's a lot of words here, but basically our position is to provide that support, resources, and training to early childhood educators like yourself to help you have the resources to provide high quality programs. We like to think of ourselves as the connect the dot people. So if you're needing a training, wanting a training, heard of a training, needing a resource, hey, how do I do a referral through ESU? Who do I talk to if I'm wanting to, expand my childcare? Who would I go to? Those types of things. We know who to send you to. So we may not know the answer, but we definitely know who to send you to. And so that's how we like to explain it, just so that, and it makes it real simple. I was talking to Katrina before this, and she kind of said, this is your guys' last meeting before the end of your time being with them in the technical assistance. And some of you are kind of nervous about, oof, I'm kind of on my own, and where am I going to find those resources? And we are here for you. You don't have to get rid of those water wings. You can reach out to us and your regional coordinators, and we will get you connected with whoever you need to get connected. So we don't want you to feel like you're out on your own, because that is really what our position is for. We are a grant funded program through the federal government. It's a child care block grant, and it's funneled down through DHHS and then NDE down into the ESUs that we are each employed with. So for Gina, myself, and Kara, we are employed through ESU 6 in Milford, but we do serve the regions of ESU 4, 5, 6, and 18. So Gina, do you have anything to add? I always kind of mess that up. We do good?
No, I think you're doing great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we are winning. We are winning. Okay, so just to kind of simplify what we do is we provide that professional development for early childhood professionals like yourself. So a variety of training. So yes, those license required trainings for sure. But also in addition to that, we do partner with many regional and state partners to offer you additional training. So UNL Extension is a partner that we partner with a lot, UNL Forest Service. And so those are some of those other trainings that you might see us offering in addition to those license required, as well as national speakers. All of the training is offered, each of the regions plans their own training and it's offered across the 7 regions. And like I said, we have strong partnerships. So because of these strong partnerships, we're able to maximize that funding and offer, more affordable and more trainings. And so by having those partnerships, we're minimizing the duplication effort. So some examples of that would be, we partner with Peru State each year to bring in a national speaker and have a conference there. We have a great partnership with the York Public Schools. So we partner with them to have the Mid-Nebraska Summit and bring in a national speaker. So things like that. And like I said, UNL, we just partnered with them to do a training. Haley Jackson did a great training on head lice and what does that look like in your program and how do you write procedures for that. And so that was kind of a neat partnership to have. All of our training does align with those Nebraska core competencies, and they do count for those in-service hours that you're required to have. In addition to that, like I said, we do a lot of community engagement and outreach through some of those partners I talked about and initiatives. So C4K, Sixpence, Rooted in Relationships, Step Up to Quality, Head Start, all of those great partners are people that we work with. In addition to that, we do a lot of strategic planning and higher education. So you'll see us on some leadership teams and boards as well. And let's see, I wrote myself a few notes because I tend to get off topic, so I like to keep some notes in front of me. I am a visual person, and so I wanted just to make sure that you guys had a visual of what those 7 regions across the state look like. So Gina and I are that bottom right blue. That's the region that we serve. But if you are located elsewhere, then you can kind of look and see which color you are and where your region falls. Katrina did send out some resources. So you each will have the Early Learning Connection consultant map, and then you'll have this map, and it's going to have those contact information. Who do you contact? So you don't have to try to Google it and figure it out. So here are those 7 regional contacts, as you can see. And a few years ago, 3, I think, right, Gina, time's flown, I think 3 years ago, that each of the ESUs had an opportunity to write for some expansion to hire on an assistant coordinator. So that's kind of where my position came from. And the 3 ESUs that wrote for that were Omaha region, Southeast region, and then the Central region, that ESU 10 Kearney area. So the Central region hired a bilingual specialist, and she does serve the entire state. And Maricela has done a nice job of that. So she's really led the state in making sure that all the training resources are translated into Spanish. Providers have access to training in their language, and they have the support to be able to get licensed. And then recently, the Omaha region restructured their position to hire on a bilingual PD coordinator. And Blanca, she's brand new in her journey with Early Learning Connection. And so she's just getting started, but she's just going to serve that Omaha region, which is a large area. And so that'll be a nice help and a nice partnership for Maricela. So there is your contacts there. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Gina and let her talk about the coach consultant piece.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me pop in. I'm just going to talk with you about kind of a specialized role that I have with the Early Learning Connection system of support for early childhood in Nebraska. Our map aligns with our partners like Jody and Kara. So we just happen to have pictures of ours, but we cover a little bit larger of a space. So instead of 7 regions, we have 5. And the coach consultants work collaboratively within these 5 Nebraska regions to ensure equitable and comprehensive, just a wide variety of support and professional development that's responsive to the needs of coaches who are serving various initiatives, and going into programs and kind of seeing what's happening and how teachers want to maybe enhance the good things that are going on. And so our official title is Early Learning Connection Coach Consultants, and we support the needs of coaches who serve early childhood educators and parents caring for children birth through 8 within family childcare homes, family homes, home visitors, community centers, and preschool programs. So that's our map. Jody, instead of having the controls, do you just want to click for me? Can you just click for me? Oh, okay. Can you go back one for me? There we go. So yeah. Oh, you can go forward. Yeah, we just need that Southeast region. There we go. This is just kind of sharing with you specifically the essential functions of our role. So we not only plan professional development, but we carry it out. Regionally, I do that responsibly for the coaches in my region. And then we do a statewide collaborative effort. We offer something called Coaching to Success, Coaching for Equity. It's a number of different types of trainings that we offer. And then we collectively present the information as a team of 5. We also do one-on-one, we do small group, we do large group cadre coaching, depending on what various programs need. We also use data. We have a very specific logic model that we work around and follow, and we utilize data gathered from our needs assessment, focus groups. We may do surveys and evaluations of the professional development training that we provide. We might ask cadre participants to just give us some feedback about the content that we've offered. We do strategic planning as well through our Nebraska Coach Development Network, and I'll show you a visual here in a minute to kind of see where we fit in throughout the state. But we utilize data gathered from all of that professional development, and then we try to align that with some of the work that other initiatives and coach leads are doing. And then we're always working within communities and outreach with school districts and various community partners. So the next slide is a visual, and this just kind of helps you see. When we first started our positions, there's 5 of us, and Becky and I started in the eastern part of the state because that's where most of the initiatives and most of the coaches were, but we've expanded and it's just been wonderful. But the structure of coaching in Nebraska is captured in this graphic for you. And we did it so that you could understand we're kind of at the hub of the various coaching initiatives that are going on. So we work with leadership from Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, Nebraska Department of Ed, the Buffett Early Childhood Foundation, UNL, Child Saving Institute, Nebraska AEYC, the Nebraska Early Childhood Collaborative, Head Start, all the various things that are providing different coaching supports in early child programs. And so you can kind of see along there, we're right in the middle, but we do have a coach development network that I co-lead, and we've developed a meeting structure to facilitate meetings in a way that they become worth attending. Rather than just sitting there, we really want to have a concerted effort that includes building relationships and partnerships, connections, shared understanding of our coaching work, sharing the outcomes and impacts of any data that we gather, and so that we can align that and then say, what do coaches need? Here's what we're doing. What else? What else is there to do to support coaches and really help them along in their coaching journey? And then some coaching partnerships. Again, we maximize funding as well to provide professional development opportunities and resources for various early childhood coaching initiatives. And that may be Sixpence childcare partnerships, C4K, Early Development Network, Head Start, Nebraska EYC, Infant Toddler Quality Initiative, Leadership Academy, Rooted in Relationships, Step Up to Quality, and UNL. So just without boring you a ton, the next slide just kind of helps you understand, like, hey, we've developed some real specific resources for coaches that when I was a coach in various initiatives, we needed something that was going to kind of help us come together. And every different initiative has its mission and vision. And we needed something to collectively bring people together around coaching, because you may be coaching this content and I may be coaching this, and this may have prescriptive coaching. This may have just kind of general information that people want to hit on, 5 key indicators for Step Up or something like that. And we thought, let's do something that will bridge kind of the knowledge and skill that coaches need in Nebraska. So we wrote within the Coach Development Network, we wrote the Nebraska Coaching Guidebook Competencies for Professional Practice. And then we've also developed within those competencies, they're structured into 5 domains. And then we offer a training series collectively as a Coach Development Network. And we compare that data. We have a template that we built, and everyone uses kind of information that scaffolds and builds upon one another. And it's been a really great opportunity to collaborate toward collective impact. We also wanted to be really transparent about the various coaching initiatives that were happening in Nebraska. So we developed a document that describes their mission and vision and their coach qualifications and kind of the gist of their initiative. And from that, then we built a coaching data matrix where whatever each initiative, how they were gathering data, we wanted to be real transparent about that. So I can go on, but essentially I'm going to show you the last 2 slides that kind of summarize our work. But these are some of the specific coach resources that we've developed. And then we developed a Coach Development Network website that brings together all of our resources and things out there for coaches in Nebraska. So you know what, you can skip over that one and then go to this one. Thank you. So this, without boring you, is just a rationale that showcases how our training menu is set up for coaches in Nebraska. So we all remember when we kind of, have done any kind of, college or training or any kind of pathway as far as our own professional development. This is something specific to, if I'm a new coach, I'm going to be in that left column. We call it novice coaches. That middle is for maybe those coaches that have some experience. And then that right column is kind of, it allows proficient coaches to kind of develop their own path. But we have this menu, if you will, to help coaches along their way and know what types of conferences to attend, what types of trainings to seek out, and then how they can become part of the cadre within Nebraska. Aligning our approach to professional development with something called Learning 2.0 principles, which is we have more direct instruction as it's a new coach, and then we kind of back off and allow more of the coach to lead and decide upon their own professional development. And then we try to develop whatever that type of training they want is. And then we would be the ones who would perform that or offer it. And then just to shore up, because I could go on, but then the next one is just, hey, where do I start? We've had people who are like, where would you start in Nebraska? And this just is, it's a great profession, but the path isn't always easy. And, people think, oh, I'm a great fixer, or I've been a great director in my various roles. And what we've found is that coaching isn't fixing. Coaching is about listening and asking really good questions at the right time. So this is just a visuals. You could see, like, if you'd start in coaching, this is what you do, and then here's some things to consider, but it kind of moves all the time, and it's quite the journey. But you know, because you're asking and you're getting the information, we celebrate that as long as we can get the coaching message out to people. It's whining, it takes a few times to get it, but we're here for that support for sure.
Thank you, Gina. That was great.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions on coaching, definitely reach out to Miss Gina, because she's the
Great.
go-to girl.
Does anybody have any questions now? Like, it was a lot and I talked a lot. I don't typically train that way. It's usually like a little more interactive, but please reach out. I'm passionate about coaching. I'd love just to have a conversation with you about it.
Gina, could you maybe address maybe why it's or what the value is of having a coach come into a program?
Actually, I have a frequently asked questions, an FAQ about why coaches need coaching and what the benefit is. So I can share that with you. But yeah, it's coaching is really about allowing the other person to work from a place of strengths. What are you doing well? What are your intentions? And then guiding them in the reflection of what are the results of your intentions, right? So we all have intentions, but is it landing? And how do you know that? What's the evidence of that? And so I always say coaching isn't about what's wrong, it's about what's next. Right? It's looking at what's going well and saying, how do we keep doing that and doing it better? And then what are you ready to pick up and adapt? So yeah, I'll share that FAQs with you, Katrina. Happy to do that. Thank you for asking the question. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Any more questions? Okay. All right, so we're just gonna move into the last part of our presentation, but absolutely feel free to ask questions at any point, you guys. We do want this to be interactive, but we also want to be respectful of your time. So the next part of this is we're really going to talk about those professional development, those yearly required trainings, and then some of those other PD resources that that you may need. And so Katrina did share with you a chart, and it is the training requirements in child care licensing and regulation. So it breaks it down in a nice format. I know you guys, you are working on ratios and staffing classrooms and finishing your food program. So it's hard to remember at what percentage of my staff need this training and when. So this is a really nice resource to have. So I definitely wanted to share that. So those yearly required trainings, you need 12 a year. I'm sure all of you know that. You've had a lot of technical assistance. And if you've been taking any of your required trainings, then you're probably really close to that number by this time. But we wanted to give you a base idea of what those are, and definitely pop in anytime and ask any questions, you guys, definitely. So we're going to start out with those 4 required trainings, and those are the trainings that are offered through our early learning connection team, right? And so we help coordinate those. You know, sometimes some private trainers will do that, but that comes through us and our approval. So we're going to start out with the early learning guidelines. And you probably recognize the symbol that's on the ELG book, that great resource. There are 7 domains with the early learning guidelines, and it is Nebraska's Birth to 5 learning development standards, just what it says it is. There's 7 domains in total, and each of the sessions are 6 hours apiece. So you will see them being offered in person and virtually, and you may see them offered for the full 6 hours, or you may see them broken up in half, where it would be 3 hours and 3 hours. Generally in our region, we'll offer them from 6 to 9 in the evening, and then we also will offer a daytime session a couple times. So it's a nice way to get those hours, but then not having to take teachers out of the classroom or take you away from your program for multiple hours during the day. Now, that early learning guideline book resource can be found online, and it also can, you can also access it by reaching out to your coordinators, and we will definitely get those to you. We'll mail them out. Or you can talk to your trainer. If you're taking an early learning guideline and you don't have that resource, you can talk to them and they'll get in connection with us and get you that resource that you need. But really what these are, and I know Gina was part of this team that wrote these, weren't you, Gina? Yeah, yeah. So it's a great resource. It just talks about the learning and development of young children and, you know, what those practices look like for the best outcomes of kiddos. So what I love when I worked in childcare partnership was we would go into the classrooms and they would take one of these early learning guideline trainings, and it was affirming to them. They had this resource and they were like, they think that it's just, you know, I think sometimes our teachers think that it is just, it's hard. You got to sit down, you got to come up with a cute craft, and then you got to come up with a science project. And so when they're looking in that and they're like, oh my gosh, we are doing math in our classroom, or we are doing science, you know, and so it just really helps connect those dots. And so um, I don't know, you know, I know you guys have been with the C4K for a while, but recently we had some ARPA funding where we were able to offer those license required trainings at no cost. And unfortunately, on May 31st, that funding has ended. But we were able to partner with Step Up to Quality, and we can offer our early learning guidelines at half price. So they're generally $30, and we can offer them at $15 if you are participating in Step Up to Quality. Through our region, what you would do is you're just going to put a code in at the checkout. And so I've included that, but I've also included the flyer in your guys' resources. I'm not sure if all the regions are honoring this, but I do know that we are. And so that would just be a question to reach out to your coordinators if you wanted to know if they were offering that. And then another thing I wanted to mention is you can find the early learning guidelines on NEPRS. That's a great resource. You can search by your region, and you can also search the whole entire state, because if you're able to take them virtually, then you could take them from any region, correct? It would just, you'd almost be able to name your time, you know, you'd just be able to look. The one thing we would want to be careful about is to make sure of the time zones. It's just making sure that you know which time zone that it's being put in, because we have had that happen before. Okay, so moving on from the early learning guidelines, we have Safe With You. Now, Safe With You is a required training for licensing, and recently, within the last year, the HHS has made this a requirement to take prior to turning in your provisional application. So I'm sure many of you have already taken this or are well on your way of getting some of your staff to take this. But this is a 4-hour training, and you'll generally either see it offered in person and virtually. And you might see it for the full 4 hours, or you might see it broken into 2-hour increments. So it would be the safe sleep and abusive head trauma. And then the next, if they broke it up, then the next one would be that power to protect, that child abuse and neglect. So this is being they're in the process of just starting to do some revisions, which is kind of exciting. It's been a while. So we're excited for that. But I do want to say that if you've taken the training and the new one comes out, then that's not going to affect when you need to take it again. You would still be on that. You'd still be on that same track. So that is that one. And then we're going to move into our management training. The management training programs are under construction as we speak, and the last modules are being offered, or were offered through ESU3 Omaha, and are just finishing up. So if you were able to get in on those and finish all the modules, then you will meet that requirement and would not have to take the new ones when they come out in the fall. I'm going to talk about the modules as they are currently. We are unsure what they are going to look like when they come out in the fall, but I'll talk about what they look like now. In the early childhood management training program, that is for your childcare centers. That's for any of those administrators to take. It's 8 modules, and it's 45 in-services by the time that you complete it. Different regions offer it different ways. In our region, we offered it hybrid. So there were some in person, and then there were some that we would offer virtually. Most of the time in the winter months, we would offer those modules virtually, and we do them 2 times a month. But each region does them a little bit differently. And then that getting down to business training is 4 modules currently, and that would be 20 hours of in-service. And really what the purpose of these trainings are is just to help you improve your business's practices, right? I give you that support of how do you write those policies and procedures? How do you support your staff? And then, you know, if you're a family childcare 1 or 2, you know, it's a great resource to even network with other people. And, you know, what do? You're a small business owner. So what does that look like? And what are those tools? So this is a licensing requirement. And we've been getting several emails where people are saying, oh my gosh, I'm almost at that 5 years and I really need it. Or, you know, my license, I'm needing it for this. And Licensing specialists are aware that these are under construction and that we will not be offering again until the fall. So, but if you are nervous about it or would like for one of us to talk, your early learning coordinator to talk to, to communicate with your specialist, just to let them know that, yep, it's coming and we've got them on the list, we can definitely do that. In addition to that, you can reach out and say, hey, when those come out, can you just kind of put my name down and be sure to let me know. And we can absolutely do that as well.
Jody, if the program has not applied for their license yet and they have a director that needs to take this training, would you recommend that they get on a state approved plan for this training while it's under construction?
What we like to say with those license requirements and in regards to the specialist is really to reach out to your specialist, and you can absolutely include us on those emails if you're wanting some help. But really ask them what they're wanting you to do, what they think is the best way, and then we can support you. So if there's a training plan, then we can support you in getting some of those other things. But we like to go through the specialist because that's who's going to be approving and disapproving those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So then finally, I just wanted to kind of talk about any other training opportunities. Of course, we have those license required, but like I had mentioned before, each of the regional coordinators work really hard to bring other opportunities, lots of different great trainings around the state. And so it's important to be on those listservs, your regional coordinators listservs, those newsletters, and be familiar with their registration systems. That's where you're going to find out about any of those PD opportunities. And I also like to just mention here that, we do send out quarterly newsletters in the Southeast region. Each region sends it out just a little bit differently. But at times our partners will send us a great opportunity. And since we do it quarterly, it may have not made it into the newsletter. So we have the opportunity then just to send it out to our listserv. So if you're only receiving the newsletter, then you're not going to get that information. And another great reason to be on the listserv would be sometimes we partner with DHHS to be able to send out grant opportunities, or recently, the Cozy Corner, there was a collaboration there. And if providers watch the Cozy Corner, then they were able to get this great bundle through Lakeshore, yeah, too. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they were able to expand it. And so and that, I think a lot of people found out about that through their regional coordinators, listservs and newsletters. So that's a great way for us to get out information. Sometimes we have surveys that go out, and you guys, that's for you. That's your voice. They want to hear your voice, what you're doing when you're on the ground doing it. So that's just kind of my plug there. And then another way to find training, of course, is NECVRS, that Nebraska Early Childhood Professional Record System. In here, I also, I think I mentioned before, you can search by your region, or you can search by the entire state. If you're willing to travel, other regions will absolutely take you at their conferences and trainings, so just, keep in mind that, and then we do try sometimes when we bring in national speakers, a couple of different regions will be offering them. So for instance, we have Erin Ramsey coming, and so she's gonna kind of be bebopping around the whole Southeast region, but then there's another regional coordinator that's going to be offering, having her come speak as well. The other thing I just wanted to mention in regards to NECVRS, well, a couple more things, I guess. The license required training, you no longer get a certificate. You won't get like a hard copy certificate or a certificate emailed to you. That's attached to your NECVRS account, and that's going to be attached to whatever email you gave the trainer. So at registration, whatever email you use, that's what it's going to be connected to. And then if you go to any of those conferences or other trainings that I was talking about, then those you would have to manually upload. Those aren't going to automatically be connected to your NECVRS account. If you have trouble, you get on your NECVRS account and you can't see a certificate, always reach out to your coordinator, and we can kind of get you connected with Kim or Dina at the training center. They're so wonderful, and they're always willing to help, combine or help you find where that certificate may be, and then get it to the right area.
Jody,
any questions about that?
Interrupt,
Yeah.
but we do
Yeah,
have a
please
question
do.
in the chat. How do
Yes.
you recommend that they get on the listserv for their region as well as the newsletter?
Okay, yeah, great question. So that map that I showed way in the beginning with the regional coordinators, at the bottom, you're going to be able to see which regional coordinator is yours. Okay, so you're just going to look at that map and say, oh, yep, I'm in Custer County, so I'm going to be calling Alexander Dillon. And then you're just going to go ahead and email her and say, hey, I would love to be added to your newsletter and listserv. And always introduce yourself, because, you know, we love to hear from you, and we like to see which programs are reaching out to us. But we're always excited to add more people to those listservs. Is there any other questions before I move on?
We had one director that had to hop off, but she was wondering if the ELG books were free and if she can order multiple at one time.
Well, that's such a good question. Yes, they are free. They're at no cost. So you can print them out online, which is quite a stack. That is a way you can do that. Or you can reach out to your local early learning connection coordinator and kind of let them know how many you're needing, and we can assist in getting those to you. Great question. Very, very good. Anything else, you guys? I'm going to talk and breathe for a second. I feel like I've just been jabbering. Okay, well, I'm going to move on, but if anybody has questions, definitely pop in and ask them. So some of the other things that providers reach out for is they want to know if there's any on-demand classes or availability. You know, sometimes it doesn't work to do a weekend or an evening, and we absolutely know that your time is precious and understand that. So I just wanted to mention a couple of the resources, and I'm not going to go through all of them, to be honest, because that would take quite some time. But I did have Katrina send them out to you, but I'm going to talk about a couple of them. So one is the NDE Learning Network, and many of you are probably already familiar with it as if you've taken Prepare to Care. But it's a great resource, and it has many on-demand opportunities that are both free and some of them do cost some money. But things like Cozy Corner, your Prepare to Care. There's a 1 hour training on the core competencies, what those are. There's a great training. It's 45 hours. It's First Connections. It's about infant and toddler care. So that's really great for those classrooms. And so there's just an array of different things, and it's a great resource to have. So that would be something that I would definitely keep in my back pocket. And then the other best kept secret is called the Nebraska Early Learning Library. And a lot of providers don't know about this, but this is a resource you can browse in person or online. It's located in La Vista. But online is fabulous, but it has many, many resources like activities and curriculum. It has some in-service training opportunities, different things that you can check out. And the best part of it is it's free. It's at no cost. So they're going to mail it out to you for free, and they're going to give you that return label for free. You can check out three items for up to 3 weeks, and you know, and then just like your local library. So it is a great resource, and they really, you know, they continue to ask us to send it out and let you guys know about that. And then the following ones are just some of the trainings that are popular in our area, or items that I wanted to make sure that you knew about. Supervision of children has been extremely popular the last 6 months. It talks about that active supervision. What do you do? You know, God forbid a child is left outdoors. How do you prevent that? And so that we offer 2 times in our region each quarter. And then there's some other online classes here, the special care training, which really talks about how do you support children with special needs in your programs? What does it look like if you suspect that a child maybe has some delays? Where do you go? Who you go to? How do you make a referral? How do you partner with families to have that conversation? Those types of things. So that's a fantastic training as well. Those are offered 2 times a month, one during the day and one in the evening, but they are only offered online at this time. And then there's some of those other online classes there that you guys can look at in your spare time. And if you have any questions, you can definitely let me know. But I did attach them to this PowerPoint. Is there any questions about any of those that I talked about? Okay, so then I'm just going to move on to the last part of our presentation, and that is the most important part, is how do you stay in, have your voice heard. So like I said, we are the connect that person people. We want to make sure that you have the resources you need to be successful in providing those high quality programs. So again, I can't say it enough. Listservs, receive the newsletter. And then another opportunity is to ask your early learning connection coordinator about partnership meetings. In our region, we offer 3 partnership meetings. And oh my gosh, you guys, those are a great way to come and meet some of our partners, some of our regional and state partners. You get to hear what's going on in the region and in the state. And you get to hear from your early learning connection coordinator about what's going on and what's coming up. And then at the end of, in the spring, most of them have their retreat meetings, and those are based on our yearly needs assessments. And that's a great time to attend, because you really go through the data that is gathered through those needs assessments. And that's how we write our grant and plan for the upcoming year. And so you get to look at that data, you get to have your voice heard, and really have a part in that planning for the next year. And then of course, NACFIRST. So like I said, your guys' voice matters. We want to hear from you. Each year, the coordinators, we send out a survey or an assessment, and it really asks you, did the training meet your needs? Was it offered at a time that you were able to attend? What would you like to see? What was really great that you'd like to see more of? What didn't work out so well? Just some of those questions. Like I said, that data is used to help us write our next year's grant and plan for the upcoming year. And so it'd be very, very exciting to have you guys fill that out and attend to the meetings if you could. Another opportunity would be to attend your planning team regions, and those are through your local ESUs. It's an early childhood leadership meeting. If you're not sure which ESU is in your region, then reach out to your coordinator and they can help get you connected with that so that you're aware of when those meetings are. And I'll just say, I'm just going to put a little plug in there. ESU is just it's a wealth of resources, right? And so you can definitely go through your coordinator, and they can get you connected with some of the other resources that you might need to help or to assist. So I think that's one piece as well that I just wanted to mention, is not to be afraid of them, because we're great and we have great resources, and we want to share. We want help. So what's that? And so then finally, if you can't attend any of those meetings, or just reach out to your coordinators. We'd love to have a conversation with you and talk about your needs and ideas. I think we went over on time. I'm so sorry. That was a lot of information.
This is all great information. Before I jump into the questions that other programs had emailed me, I'm going to open it up for other people for questions. Working on my pauses here. So since we have quite a few of our programs that are already open and operational, they weren't able to make it. But we have one email that came in that asked, is there a size requirement for group trainings if they reached out to their ESU coordinator to schedule them?
Okay. So like I had said before, we represent the Southeast region. Your region might do it differently. It's always the same goal. So I think that's just a conversation with your coordinator. Say, hey, we would love to bring in a training. We love to help coordinate those. There may be a cost. That's something to keep in mind. There may be a cost if you're wanting to have a private training. But we have had programs, have a few staff that want to take a Safe With You training or something. And so we're able to work with them to make that work.
We had another program ask if they reach out to the ESU coordinator, is there a way that they could ask specific advice on a behavior, and you can advise on specific trainings that you could help out with? So if there's specific biting behaviors happening in the program, would you be able to advise for trainings that could help?
Right, absolutely. And we do that quite often. UNL has a great training they offer. It's called Challenging Behaviors. There's several other state and regional partners that do offer some great resources. That's one that comes up often. And so we do have a few tricks in our bag of trainers that you can reach out to. So absolutely any needs. And sometimes people will come to us with things that we're like, wow, we never really thought about that. That's a great idea. Let's go to the drawing board and figure this out.
The training center is a great resource for that too, depending on the type of learner. 9 times out of 10, you're a processor who's verbal and wants to kind of have that conversation with another person. do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm asking? So it's always great to have that, personal connection, but the training center also has tons of resources on that, and we can kind of help you dig through those.
Yes, thank you, Gina.
Does anybody else have any questions for Gina or Jody? Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you going over all these resources and sending those packets in advance. Those are wonderful resources, especially as we're ending our period of performance. Luckily, everybody who was on our Zoom today is actually affiliated with the C4K community, and everybody who wasn't on are the ones that are not. So we'll definitely be sending out this recording, and so that way then they can access this. So I'm sure that we'll be sending out some emailed questions as well after this, but we really appreciate your guys' time today.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah. And then we just have a
Take
couple
care, guys.
of reminders for our group here today. So we do have all of our submissions are due July 15th. However, we do really need to have everybody focus on submitting them earlier than July 15th. So in case that there is any corrections that need to be made, we can send those out. So if you do have the capability of sending in your reimbursement submission before July 15th, please do so by the earliest, the better. We do know that there's July 4th coming up, but if you can submit it in that first week of July, that would be great, because then we can start reviewing those processes. Another reminder is that we cannot reimburse for any items that are delivered after the June 30th date. So that period of performance. So make sure that all of your contractor work and all items that are being delivered by that June 30th. And that's being clearly stated on all of your receipts. We're getting right down to the wire here. Does anybody have any questions revolving around the ARPA 1014 funding or submissions?
Katrina, my only question would be, we're working with our general contractor, and I think we're going to be fine for the June 30th, and we'll get them submitted right after that. Appreciate the input you provided on kind of what we need to see, since this is our one and only submission. But is it okay if we get that put together? I mean, can I forward that to you even before we submit it to take a look at?
Oh, definitely. We definitely recommend that. That's what we're here for. So I
Okay.
can preview that, and I can send back any edits that may need to happen.
Perfect. We will do that then. Thank you.
Yeah.
Katrina, I have one quick question. So fingers crossed, my license is assigned today. I should have my license number today or tomorrow. But I did try to start like signing up for NECPERS and step up to quality and those other things on the list of things that we have to do. And that is going to take at least 30 days to get approved, specifically step up to quality. So do those things after licensing have to be done by June 30th also?
That is a great question, April. So no, just as long as you get on the step up to quality and NECPERS, we have let DHHS know that the programs are in the works for getting them done. So the latest I would say would be by December, but the sooner rather than later. There are some delays in the system that we have been alerted to currently of getting the license, even if you have been given your actual physical license and your number, they have not been getting uploaded into the online portal. And so then it's not showing on the actual roster, nor on the CCRN for the Child Care Referral Network, as well as Step Up to Quality. So it's taking about a 2-week delay that we're seeing. And we don't know if that's just on the state side or if that is just on the portal. So just as a heads up. So if you have your license number, you're good, you're licensed. But if you're having a problem with getting registered on the CCRN, that's what's causing the issue.
Okay. And I talked to Morgan at Step Up to Quality today, and it sounds like the 10th of the month is kind of their magic date. So she said the next upload is July 10th. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great question. Yep. Nope. We will not ding anybody or make you guys repay back anything if your KPIs aren't met by June 30th.
Oh, in Loop City, we passed our fire alarm inspection, the fire marshal inspection this morning. And our other two licensing visits are next Wednesday at 9 a.m. So hopefully they all get their stuff put in real fast and we'll be up and running here soon.
Oh, that's so exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
It's been kind of a whirlwind for everybody getting licensed so quickly here. So if anybody has any ribbon cuttings or open houses that you want to send out, we do now have a C4K Facebook page, and we would love to be able to feature any of the programs that are getting opened up. So that way then it can go across to all of our partners. So if anybody has any of those invites, go ahead and send them to our emails and we'll get them posted.
Sounds good. July 12th, if anybody's around. Come on out.
That is great. Well, if anybody doesn't have any other questions, we will let you guys go 7 minutes early here, but have a great rest of your guys' day. And we will send out all of the rest of the recordings and then probably the slide deck too, if she sends that over as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that was
Okay.
one of our longest ones. That was
I
good
know.
though.
I don't know where this recording is going to go to because it's the AI one.
Oh,
So I'm
I
really
don't-
hoping that it just goes to the Zoom account. So I'm going to check with Marty and Katie when I go back in there. But
perfect.
that was a really good presentation that they
That was
had.
all. Jody is amazing, and that I had never met that Gina before. She was really good too.
Yeah, she's so bubbly in
Yeah.
meetings.
They both are.
I feel like the coaching kind of got people a little bit bored there, but I really
Yeah.
wanted, I thought that they were going to talk on the importance of bringing coaches into the program. So I think we got our wires crossed a little bit there,
Exactly.
but it was really good because I'm like,
Yeah,
just having programs get coached is like the most important part of it. And so
yeah,
letting them know that it's not like DHHS coming in.
yep.
But sweet. Well, I
Perfect.
am gonna head back to the retreat.
All right, have fun.
Yeah, talk to you later.
Yep, see you later. Bye.
Bye.